assistance, receiving the supports that they have advocated for. So my question then to the minister, does he still believe in his colleagues' words that he can't close the gap on the $300 clawback, yet is still willing to give himself a $480 a month raise?
Oh my. Oh, it's live right now. Oh, it's in our legislature right now. No wonder the MLA hasn't responded back to me. They're doing questions. Oh dear. Oh, this is rich. I was just looking on there going, checking to see if I got a response back. I sent a message off because the legislature told me to contact him, right, as coming as a guest. And I'm looking and then all of a sudden I just heard him talking, and he's grilling the other minister because he's in opposition. And he told me, he says, I'm going to hold his feet to the fire. And he says, and I'm going to make sure his feet burn. I'm going, ouch. And so he just messaged that too. Now he's waiting for a response. Oh man. Oh, I just had to share that little clip. That was him talking. No wonder he hasn't responded back.
Always
here's the minister
for increasing rates, and I think that in itself differentiates the side of the house from the other side, which will focus on finding ways of cutting rates if ever possible. I point out that since 2017, there's been an increase of $325 a month, which brings us into the top two. I think we're second in the country. And disability rates, we're close to what we're top four. So there a few provinces that have fairly similar rates. These are ongoing efforts on my part, on part of my colleagues, to ensure that we continue to provide what community individuals need. There are many ways of addressing issues of poverty. There are many ways, including income support, including instituting earnings exemptions, eliminating certain fees that the previous government invariably increased regularly, including MSP. We've affordable childcare benefit is benefiting many parents. I could go on. I'd be happy to go on about the child opportunity benefit, the free transit for under 12. I mentioned MSP ferry fares were reduced by 15%.
I tried to get him to come on to the show, but he hasn't wanted to come on yet. So
being able to say we've accomplished our goal, but we are always working towards improving our target and strengthening our target. It's very important to measure our successes, and so far we've been doing quite well, and we continue to
you haven't, liar.
Hope that the policies and programs of the Institute will continue on that trajectory.
Member. Thanks. Excuse me. Thanks, Chair, and thanks to the Minister. And that leads well into my next question. Actually, in the Minister's opening statement, talked about the poverty reduction plan. Now, just talking targets, which is my next question. If the Minister could give this House an update on the poverty reduction plan and the status of hitting those targets now that we're moving into post-pandemic position.
The guy that was just talking, he's actually the opposition for poverty reduction, just so everybody knows. And then he says, well, I just want an update of what's going on. And the other minister, he's actually in charge of the government's ministry, right, for disabled. So, of course, he's going to say, blah, blah, spin it all out, right? Oh, well, our targets and, sure, yeah, there's more to do. And comparing other provinces to that. And yeah, and it's like, oh, well, they start mentioning about the child tax credits, this and that. Well, fine and dandy, right? But I mean, people, that's every government does that across the country. Well, yeah, but how about PWD? We need money in our pockets too, right? Well, then they say, well, there's more to do. That's the theme I've noticed, that they all say that there's more to do, or we have your back, or they're talking about reducing poverty by 2024, but children and people with disabilities. So now, isn't that interesting? 2024, that's exactly the timing about the Canada Disability Benefit. By the time that they get some of all their other stuff going, I think that's right around the election time for BC, and is also around the same time that the federal government will be pretty close to their when they called that election before, their timing on that. So
you've made progress at the cabinet table to get these higher rates that you've just said you've been advocating for.
Oh, I love it. I love Dad. He is so good. They're always good, Sonia, until they get into government. But some of them are actually better than others, though, I must say. Like when I say some of them are good until they get in the government, but some of them advocate even really good when they are in a certain position anyway, when they're in government. So, but some are just more effective than other ones. Some of them just sit back and they don't do anything, which that really bothers me, right? Because they have to try to do the best they can. But yeah, But it's funny you're watching them kind of squirm, right, when they talk.
Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. And, I started in this ministry many years ago. I was a financial assistance worker in a local office on the Sunshine Coast. And I remember realizing how important it was for a government to treat people with respect and to ensure that we were not closed to ideas and to suggestions and to opportunities. And I'm just proud of the fact that our ministry continues now a renewed focus on improving quality of life for people. And the single largest increase in social assistance and disability benefits, I guess speaks to success of the outlook of our government. I think the fact that it's the third in 4 years, third increase, a total of $325, speaks to that success. The numbers that I read out with respect to reaching our child poverty and overall poverty reduction targets speaks to our success. And at no point would I ever want to say you take the foot off the gas. We are always working and always advocating for ways to ensure that families have what they need, that food security exists. So we won't stop doing that. The minimum wage increase today announced. What a contrast to the $6 training wage that was instituted by the previous government. That you have to work a number of months in order to get the basic minimum wage. Well, we have the highest minimum wage in British Columbia. We have the child care programs that we've instituted, the cost of transit, which was reduced, the MSP, which we've eliminated.
It's unique is that they copy a lot of the stuff that goes on out here is the same policies in Ontario. So it's kind of ironic that the income should be at the same level, there. But I have a feeling that they will. It's more of a policy thing.
Member.
Thanks, Honourable Chair. Also to add, there's a list there that the minister stated about, fees and such. But also, let's be clear, too many of those have just been shifted. They're not been eliminated. They've been shifted elsewhere. So I think that's important to bring up. I guess now my final question around this piece, and it's quite simple. Is there a plan to reinstate the $300 PWD monies that were initially there in the near future?
He told me he was going to mention it. Oh boy. I wish I could be a fly on the wall right inside there, and a little bumblebee and buzz right by his ear.
But he told you he was going to ask that, and we're listening to it, and he did it. The timing, Brent?
And now I'm waiting for the minister's response, because he told me he was going to ask him. He says, I'm going to ask him when I have the first opportunity, and right now is the opportunity, I guess. Oh, I just didn't know when. And you know what he's going to say? Well, we gave them, we helped them out during the pandemic, and I could hear it now. I recognize that there's more to do, and our government is always looking at ways of making changes to make people's lives better. They'll spin it out. He'll find a way. They always do. They try to dodge it, but
I think he's replying right now.
Oh, I bet he's probably trembling right now, going, oh, and his staffers are probably going.
Minister.
Honourable Chair, and as I might have mentioned earlier, that there was a temporary COVID supplement of $300, and that was extended twice. In fact, when it ended, I was very pleased to be able to announce that we were implementing the largest single increase in social assistance and disability assistance in the history of the province. It was one of many measures that we took and that we continue to take to reduce poverty. I've mentioned a few already, and I don't think the member is ignoring them, but I think he must recognize that in fact these are very supportable and significant changes that we made. And I would point out that the matriannual Welfare in Canada report noted that of the 6 subnational jurisdictions providing supports, British Columbia had the highest. So I'm happy to point that out. The member knows that the $300 was a temporary supplement. It was extended twice. It was clear when it was implemented that it was temporary. When it was extended, it was clear that it was temporary. When it was extended again, there was no expectation, or there was no understanding, and there was no statement that it would be an ongoing COVID benefit. In fact, when it did end, we were able to ensure that families on income and disability assistance were able to receive the largest single permanent increase in social assistance and disability assistance, which was $175, and that was the 3rd increase since 2017. And the 2017 increase was the first in 10 years, in a decade, which really put us back. And I think that we've made large strides towards trying to make up for the neglect of the previous decade and a half. And that permanent increase, that single permanent increase, reflects our government's interest in ensuring that people have the supports that they need. And that 175, that permanent increase, made the total increase as $325 since 2017.
I'm sure the minister has spoken to many of the folks on the front lawn that are regularly out there, the poverty reduction groups. Many of them that come into the building, watch the debates, and so on and so forth. There was an expectation that that extra supplement would be around. People, certainly on assistance, are having to make the decisions of buying groceries, medications, or paying the rent. And, the $300 supplement was a good thing. And certainly I'm not saying that it was a bad thing. But when you pull it back, that has resounding impacts on these families, these people that have relied on that. So the minister has yet to answer my question. And it was quite simple. Yes or no? Is there a plan to reinstate it? The minister likes to talk about what was in 2005, but the minister's in charge now. This is a leadership thing when you're a leadership issue when you keep looking back and saying, well, that was then. This is a government now that's going on 6 years, 2 terms. The decisions are made in his office. So I'll ask it again, and then I'll just take it as a no. Is it going to be reinstated? Yes or no?
Minister's response. We got the grilling him. What is this guy's name?
Yeah, actually, the guy that's grilling him right now is Dan Davies. He's the MLA for the Liberal MLA, and he goes, well, the minister still hasn't answered my question. The minister that's in charge right now in the governing party is Nicholas Simons. He's the MLA for the NDP. Sounds like Adam might be coming up next. Oh boy.
Recognizing the member from Saanich North and the Islands.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair.
Oh no, it's Adam. Oh no.
Through to the minister, just
Adam.
Today.
Welcome back, Adam.
Gentleman tweeted Brent.
Oh no.
Brent Frain, who's
No!
Recently has been profiled in a story in City News with respect to the challenges that he's
I'm here, Canadians with Disabilities
as a person with disabilities, and tweeted out today that the person with a disability shelter allowance is $375. It's been this level for 15 years and 2 months. Total monthly check is $1,358.50, and over 80% of the people with disabilities pay market rent. Does the minister think that this is sufficient?
Oh no!
He read your tweet.
Yeah. He says my colleague and my friend.
I would email and ask him to make sure you can attend tomorrow.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Yeah. Oh boy. He did say he's gonna pound away on him. Now he's waiting for the minister's response. The minister's probably ready to pull his hair out right now, going, oh.